Call it a googly, call it a spinner, call it a bouncer. I do not know what that was, but hey, IRCC has just conducted the latest express entry draw, and this was not what we expected. I'm not sure what IRCC is all about or who in the operations think tank of IRCC has these funny ideas, right? To continue to surprise us, continue to jolt us, continue to shock us, sometimes pleasant, sometimes more unpleasant than pleasant. Of course, there have been some pleasant ones as well, but we are never able to sort of get the gist of what's going on. There is no predictability, there is no certainty, there is absolutely no way of speculating with any kind of assurance that yes, this thing can happen. That's what IRCC is for you. What are we talking about? We're talking about the latest express entry draw, which was conducted today, draw number 248, today being the 10th of May 2023. And let's get to the draw details. Right. Draw number 248, 10th of May. This was the 12th draw of 2023. The total number of invitations issued 589 with a CRS score, lowest CRS score of 691. This was a PNP program specific draw. The tiebreaker that applied to the score of 691 was for the 8th of March 2023. This was at 1642 UTC. Now, this is officially the official page of IRCC. As I said, 10th of May 248, score of 691, total number of invitations at 589. The draw was conducted at 1406 UTC, which is roughly, 9 a.m. in the morning. So 9 a.m. this morning, the draw was conducted. Obviously, it was published much later in the day. And as I said, this is a provincial nominee program specific draw, which basically means that if you are a person who received a nomination, and in this nomination, which was linked to express entry, remember, not all nominations are linked to express entry, you received 600 points, and those 600 points were added in your express entry score. Those are the people, only those people were invited in today's draw. Now, obviously, with this kind of a draw, which was unexpected, came out of the blue, basically a lightning jolt out of the blue, it is opening up to so many different probabilities, possibilities, speculations, permitting. But of course, we will talk about all of that. Let's get with the draw details first, right? So this is the CRS pool, the CRS score distribution of the express entry pool as of the 10th of May, which is today. Now, the surprising bit is, as far as this pool breakdown, the total number of people between 601 and 1200 is only 535. And therefore, people are wondering, if it was 535, then how come they have issued 589 invitations, which is roughly what, 589, about 34 more than the actual people in the pool, right? So you're all scratching your head as to what. So people, the thing is that this pool breakdown is a snapshot of the express entry pool, which was taken earlier this morning. Could be last night, midnight, could be later in the night, very, very early in the morning. I do not know when, at what point of time the snapshot was taken or this pool breakdown was given. But it is obviously, the fact is that more people were added into the pool after the pool breakdown was taken, and then those people were also eligible to accept their also to they were also eligible because they managed to get the 600 points, and they were also eligible in this draw. So what happens is, sometimes, for example, you get the nomination, right? And then with the nomination, you have 30 days to accept the nomination. Once you will accept the nomination, that's when you get your 600 points in your express entry profile. A lot of times people don't accept the invitation immediately, or they do not accept the nomination immediately. They give it some time. So those could be one of those group of people who basically are here. So don't get shocked or surprised with these kind of things. This is quite common, as we can see with IRCC now. But let's see the pool breakdown, right? 501 to 600, that is where we are now more interested in. 992. Last 2 weeks back, it was 884, so not too much of a change there. Also, 2 weeks back, this is of 26th of April on your screen now. On this 26th of April, 2 weeks back, The number of people between 601 to 1200, 604. So again, the number of invitations issued, the number of, the number of people in the pool with the nominations issued, just about the same, 604 and 535, not a big change there. 501 to 600, 992, and 884, also not a big change there. Now 451 to 500, now that is a big chunk. We don't really usually talk about that, but take a look at this number, right? This is not a very big change. 55,439 earlier, 55,867 now, which basically means that the large group between CRS score of 451 to 500, 55,000 people are there, but not a very big change, only 400 people. 491 to 500, 26th of April, 2 weeks back, was 680. Now it's 1,094. Almost, I wouldn't say almost double, but just close to that. 481 to 490, 2 weeks back, was 3,001, and 2 weeks later is 3,050. This is obviously because this has increased by 1,381 because when the last draw happened, the score was 483. A lot of people got the invitation. 1,600 people had cleared out earlier. So this pool between 481 to 490 increased by 1,381. At this point of time, the number of people above 481 is 5,136. That tells you that even if IRCC was to conduct a regular all-program draw today, if this was a regular all-program draw, the scores may not have dropped, just the way we were talking about in the last express entry draw pool breakdown that we did 2 weeks back. And that's what we had predicted or speculated, that the scores are not going to drop. The scores will probably remain the same or may even increase. Now, as you can see from the pool breakdown, if there are 5,136, and if I add the number of people with the nominations as well, so that's about 5,700 people, give or take a few. With 5,700 people, even if they were to conduct 3,500 kind of a draw, you would have still seen the scores to be on the high 480s, probably 485, 486, 487. That kind of a score would have been drawn out today. However, IRCC chose not to do that. And let's quickly take the key analysis points for this particular draw. The draw-on-draw number increase. So from 491 and above, that's where a lot of concern is. So 2,621 profiles were added in that range. That is usually the average that we have seen, 2,600, 2,500 profiles. The remaining number of profiles at 481 is now 5,136. The next draw estimate, now that's where this whole speculation game starts. Okay. Today, IRCC has conducted a PNP program specific draw. Earlier, they were doing this kind of a draw. They were conducting this kind of a draw during COVID. And what they would do is either they would conduct only PNP specific draw because they are obligated to conduct the PNP specific draw. They cannot really hold it back for a very long time because the provinces have an agreement with federal government, right? So they have to conduct the PNP program specific draw. Now, are they going to pause the draws? There is no technical issue that we are aware of at this point of time. Most or all of the technical issues have pretty much been cleared out. There are a few small glitches here and there, but not really something which would hold the draw or which would bring a pause to the draw. So is this a pause to the draw? And if there is a pause, then why? Are the Bill C-19 draws going to be implemented yet? I don't see where and how, because IRCC, in one of the notifications that we have seen, they are obligated to announce the categories before they conduct the draw. So there has been no announcement of any categories yet. And because there is no announcement, I am assuming Bill C-19 is not yet coming, because whenever the categories are announced, then we know the Bill C-19 is coming. As of right now, there is no category, so no Bill C-19. Is there a pause in draws? That's the first one, which we are not sure about. If it's not a pause in the draw, then the second one would be, are they now going to conduct PNP plus CEC specific draw? Because again, that is a precedence. We have seen it again during COVID. They were conducting PNP one day, then the next day or 2 days later, they were conducting CEC specific draws. Or What we have also seen in the month of February, they did a PNP and then they did a FSW program specific draw only again. Are they going to do that? Or it's just going to be another regular all program draw yet again tomorrow? Maybe today was a glitch. Maybe they were trying to test something. Maybe some changes have been made. They were trying to figure that out. Remember, there was also full-fledged schedule maintenance that were conducted yesterday. All of these permutations, combinations, speculations, I don't know. I mean, I definitely have no clue what the hell they are going on about. Because when I saw the draw this afternoon, I wanted to make a video there and there, but I was obviously not in the right state of things and didn't do that. So waited for this evening. At this point of time, trust me, I mean, I've been getting so many calls from colleagues who are also consultants, from a couple of lawyers, and as well as a lot of people as well who are in the know. And we're all trying to figure out what the hell's going on. A lot of people are saying that, is this the end of the draws, all program draws? Well, I don't think so. Also, which has been mentioned earlier by IRCC, is that the regular express entry draws will continue even if the Bill C-19 starts. At this point of time, there is nothing that we know of that would indicate anything of the sort where the draws are not going to happen, or there's a pause or a big pause in the draws. At least I haven't heard of anything. So I'm not going to speculate and say anything of that which is very drastic. But yes, could there be a program specific draw? Could this be IRCC's effort to reduce or bring the CRS score down so that some of the Canadian experience class or CECs can also get through? Because at this point of time, they are just not getting a foot in the door. Let's take a look at what we have in terms of speculations for the next draw estimate. So if another express entry all program draw is to happen, let's say tomorrow or a day after tomorrow or this week itself, and if they issue 3,500 or maybe 3,000 ITAs, because they've already issued 500 some ITAs, let's say they issued 3,000 ITAs. If that's the case, then you will see a CRS score going up to roughly between 487 to 489. That's what I am anticipating. That is if they conduct an all program draw. Now, if they do a CEC specific draw, which is also a possibility, they did an FSW specific draw in February. I couldn't understand what was the purpose of that draw because it didn't really make a big dent anyways. They can do, of course, they can do another federal skilled worker draw again if they have to. So this basically means everybody out there who is Canadian experience class, if you have not indicated funds in your account, then you have to go back and you must go back and indicate funds in your account so that you also become eligible for federal skilled worker draw. Otherwise, you will not be eligible for FSW draw if at all IRCC is to conduct an FSW specific draw tomorrow or this week or next week. I do not know when, but that's something you should always keep yourself open to. If there is a CEC specific draw, that's what we are talking about, the CRS can actually drop to 460s to 470s. I do not know exactly what, because we do not have a pool breakdown which gives us specifically, categorically, as to how many people are there from each stream. We do not know whether they are FSTC, Federal Skilled Trade categories. We do not know whether they are Federal Skilled Worker or Canadian Experience class. So it's all a wild guess, to be very honest. But understanding from what people usually talk about, how many people may be there, may not be there. If it's a CEC specific draw, you're looking at 460s to 470s. Again, a lot depends on how many invitations will be issued out. Okay, and based on that, invitations being issued out, that's what will decide a lot. I would say 470s more or less if a CEC draw is to happen. Moving on from here, future trends. The number of invitations issued so far in 2023 is 45,148. That is nearly more than half of what I am expecting and anticipating for this year. The number of invitations, 80,000. The candidates in express entry pool has dropped by 5,000. Big number, dropped. 225,388. This could also be because a lot of profiles became ineligible with the proof of funds change that happened a week back. The quota for 2023, the number of people, 82,880 under the federal high skill, which is express entry, plus 35,000 approximately. I do not know what the exact number is, but just going by the number of averages as we have seen in the past, I would say 35,000 people from the provincial nominee programs, which are linked to express entry streams. So you're looking at roughly 120,000 people will be invited through the express entry. 120,000 people not profiles, not ITAs, people. Okay, people usually mix that up. So the remaining number of draws that we are anticipating is approximately 13 to 14 draws. Bill C-19 is expected to be implemented later this year. That's as far as the express entry is concerned. But I want to talk to you about something totally different as well. And that is, a lot of people are thinking or speculating that this kind of a draw is because IRCC wants people to accept the Ontario notification. That is, I mean, like, why are you even thinking like that? IRCC has got nothing to do with what Ontario does with their set of invitations. They are not going to be the ones trying to get people to accept Ontario's notifications of interest or not. None of their business. Because if that is your logic, then why can't you think about BC PNP or Manitoba PNP or Saskatchewan PNP, right? I mean, why would IRCC be biased against people or in the favor of people who are accepting, not accepting for Ontario? So don't get your head wrapped into all these things. There is no politics involved here, first of all. Number two, this also brings a lot of importance to people who have received the notification of interests in the last week actually, from Ontario. There was a draw on the 5th of May, there was a draw on the 8th of May, 8th and 9th May. First, it was the tech draw, then it was the healthcare draw. They also conducted two more draws, but this was employer job specific draw. They did one for employer job offer stream and international student stream as well. In total, within this 1 week, Ontario itself has invited 5,196 people. That is a huge number of people. Now, when they invited people with the healthcare draw or in the healthcare worker targeted draw, they have gone right down to 427, which is pretty good, right? I mean, otherwise people at the 427, I mean, like, what are the chances? It's not going to happen. The last time 427 was drawn for any kind of score was 2017. that's when 427. I will even tell you what dates it was. I think it was in the month of April. April or May 2017. That's when 427 kind of scores were invited. Okay, so you can imagine, with a gap of almost 5 to 6 years, if Ontario is now inviting 427s, what a big opportunity it is, a golden ticket is for those people. So if you are that individual, if you are that person who has received healthcare worker draws from Ontario, if you are a person who has received the draws under the tech draw from Ontario, and I know you have been thinking that the express entry draws will drop, the express entry scores will come down, and you will be able to take advantage of that. Think again, because this is made it much more interesting. It's become very dicey now. I've always been saying that express entry is very uncertain, very unpredictable. You absolutely have no clue what's going to happen tomorrow with express entry. So with that in mind, if you're a Canadian experience class, okay, fair enough. You still have 45 days to submit your application. You can take a chance with one or two more draws to see if the draw is in your favor. Fair enough. I mean, I can give you that. There is no, it's at the end of the day, it's still $1,500 that you have to spend. Nobody wants to spend extra money, number one. Number two, it's not the money at the end of the day. It's also the extra time. Plus, some of you may not want to be tied down to Ontario or wanting to live in Ontario. So with all these things, I can understand you may not want to take the opportunity with Ontario. But otherwise, most of the people, especially if you're outside Canada, it's a no-brainer. You got to run with it, right? Especially the people who have got the invitations under the healthcare worker draws. My God, this is such a great opportunity. But this also tells you that there are not too many people in the pool with the healthcare occupations, which also tells you that whenever the Bill C-19 is implemented, and if healthcare workers are in one of those categories, you can expect to see the CRS score really coming down there. Because, hey, if Ontario couldn't find, people in the pool, federal is not going to find them either. So you can expect the scores to really go down. But it will all depend which categories get invited when and which categories they're in, identified in the draws. But this, at this point of time, has made it very interesting in the sense, like, it's a speed bump for sure. I mean, imagine, we were just when we thought IRCC is now conducting regular express entry draws, so we can now have, some certainty as to where do we look at. They have now hit a speed bump. We do not know what's going to happen. They just sort of jolted us. Fingers are crossed. Let's see. Let's see if there's a draw tomorrow or maybe Friday. Sorry, maybe Saturday. It has happened before. Saturday. I know a lot of people don't expect one. There could be one draw tomorrow. There could be on Friday. Could be on Saturday. We do not know. Or maybe next week. But let's keep our fingers crossed. Whether it's a CEC specific draw, whether it's an FSW specific draw, or whether it's an all-program draw, any of those draws will be welcomed. I'm sure about that. That's basically all I had to talk to you today. Short one, but this was a very important one to make. I will bring you update as and when the next draw happens. Until then, stay safe, take care, and stay forever hopeful.